Hey guys, it is Nick and Zoe with Chestnut Hills Farmstead, and we have been promising you guys a story about us. So I guess it is time that we tell you a little bit about the background and how we became Chestnut Hills Farmstead.
How faith has played a part in this and why we feel like we're following as closely as we can to God's plan for us. My dad owned this 40 acres for his retirement plan. And his plan changed and he decided to move to the beach. And he said that 40 acres is sitting out there, do something with it. And that's where this journey started. So I had the same idea as anyone else. I'll fence it in and put cows on it. That was a traditional idea, and that's what anybody was going to go with.
That's what everybody around here has done.
That's what everybody around here does. But being by myself, I just never really made it a priority. I wanted to be a dad and a father, and I was starting to change the way I was living somewhat. I was in a rut and knew I didn't want to be the person that I was, but it was just not coming together. So I decided to turn back to my faith. And shortly after I changed the way I was living, Zoe came along. I realized that I had to be a good candidate to be a husband and father before those prayers were going to be answered. And once those things changed, I met Zoe. I was still playing pool a lot, but I was not doing the same things I had been doing. And along came Zoe.
Well, along came Zoe, and I shook up his whole world like an earthquake.
We actually met while I was still playing pool. Zoe wandered into a pool hall, and there I was.
Yeah, playing pool ended up becoming our life for a year.
Yeah.
And that's what Nick and I did. That's how we, our relationship formed, and it grew from there. But it established a detour a little bit. We decided that pool hauling was not the life we wanted. It was
I was not acting the same, and we were conducting ourselves the way we thought we needed to, but we were still in environments that we felt we could do better. So we wanted to get out of those environments. It was not the people. We still have a lot of close friends, and there was nothing wrong with being around those people, but it was just not exactly the lifestyle that we were looking for.
Right.
So we had left our hobby. We were spending more time in our church and in life groups and doing different things, but what were we going to do as a hobby? I introduced Zoe to the farm,
which was very overwhelming because it was a lot of land, and I was not used to outdoor activities. I was not used to having a vast amount of land to take care of.
So we just started small. We started clearing some fence lines. There were existing older fences here, and we started clearing some of those. I started working on clearing trees and limbs around the pasture, and we started it was a very brushy, thorns, thistles. We started cutting and bush hogging and cleaning up. And all that cleaning leads to brush that needs to disappear. So, having kids, we started having bonfires and burning that brush. And
it gave them something to look forward to after working the farm all day.
So when we first got together, Mackenzie was 7 and Chance was 1. And that gave them exposure to outdoors.
Yeah.
They were not outdoors kids. And we just started sitting around those fires at night and looking out across it and picturing what we wanted to do.
Right. What we would like to see, or what kind of animals we might want to have.
Mind you, it was still just fencing the perimeter and turning animals loose at the time.
Yeah.
So we started researching farming a little bit, and we found a man named Joel Salatin. And I thought, wow, this guy is really kooky.
Yeah.
But I started listening to the things he was saying, and it made total sense to me. And I was looking at the land that we had and hearing the story of how his farm started and thinking, that's how we rejuvenate that place. Yes. That's how we turn all those briars and thistles into a farm. So. And
I was not on board because all I knew was hard wire, hard fence, and.
So our first investment was we bought goats. Those will help us clear a little bit. We'll go with goats.
Hey, buddy.
We find a couple of female goats. They are already bred, so I take the plunge. We're going to buy those. We had a fence set up, an electric fence. We released the goats, and before I can even manage to turn the charger on, Zoe and Chance want to make friends with the goats, and they run right out the backside.
Yeah.
Now we have no goats.
We paid money for goats that we released into the woods and have not. Well,
we have seen them since. Several months later, you saw them again, but they may still be on this farm for all we know, but they are not.
They're
contained.
Not part of us, yeah. Yeah.
So the goats didn't work out.
We just knew that farming was not for us. I swore every day that this is just not the life that we were meant to have, because why would we get goats and they run away?
And a friend of mine calls and says, hey, my dad has some pigs he needs to get rid of. Would you be interested? Yes. So now we get pigs.
Oh.
All grown pigs, a huge boar and 2 gilts. And we're thinking, all right, now we're on our way.
Right.
A hurricane comes through our area, knocks down trees on their fences, and now we've lost pigs.
Dun, dun, dun.
Never to be seen again either.
Nope.
They may be hanging out with those goats. I don't know.
They done established their own farm down in the bottom somewhere.
In the meantime, COVID has hit. Now, to preface that a little bit, Zoe and I had been researching chickens. Zoe wanted a few chickens to keep at our house. We had been researching those, and we had decided on some breeds that we wanted to try, and we had put in an order for our chicks.
Yeah.
COVID hits, the hatcheries are slammed, and thankfully we already had our order in. So we built our coops, and here we have chickens. we're still researching Joe Salatin's style of things. And we think, you know what? These chickens are not all that bad. Why don't we raise ourselves some broilers? So we order broiler chicks. Now we're on our way. We get a couple of chicken tractors. We order some Premier One netting, raise them through the brooder. It's time to put our birds on pasture. Salatin has mentioned that he uses geese to stay with his chickens.
Yes.
To guard them. So we start looking for, hey, let's see if we can get a goose.
We started researching about goats because the more we were reading, everything was telling us that goats were good for clearing. You know, clearing your land. They'll eat the underbrush and all that yuck stuff you don't want. So we started looking up goat videos. You know, what's going to be the best breeds to get and all. And that's when we came across Daniel Arms at Arms Family Homestead. Well, while watching him, we see that he's got his good friend Dutch. And so we're like, okay, well, Dutch is a pretty cool guy. Let's watch his channel for a little bit and see what he's doing. You know, they're along the same lines of what we want. Their ideas and their practices are, you know, they're awesome. We want to do the same thing. So let's watch them while we're learning and see if we can learn something from all of them. So one evening we're watching Dutch and his family, and they are headed back from Disney World. And they stop at this farm called Cog Hill Farm. And we're watching and we're like, man, these people, they're some Southerners. And we're like, well, that's pretty cool, you know. Jason, he's so knowledgeable. And then we see on their barn, it had an Alabama sign. So Nick was like, let me look into them. We had never heard of them before. And Nick got to looking up their channel on YouTube, and he's like, look, they are only like 40 miles from here, if that. I don't even think they were 40 miles. And so that leads us back into answering an ad for some geese.
So I find the ad for the geese on Facebook, and I message this lady, and she's talking about the geese, and I tell her what I want to do with it, and she's raised broilers, and she seems very knowledgeable. She's telling me all sorts of things about broilers and telling me other things I need to do. And when she tells me her address and she says, y'all can come look at them and see what we have, and she says, we're called Cog Hill Farm. And I was like, wait a minute. We watched y'all on YouTube. So it wasn't advertised under the farm, it was advertised under her name. So we make the trip to Valley Grande, Alabama to look at geese, and we meet Brooke at Cog Hill Farm.
Mm-hmm. And they had just purchased the property, the 40, Cog Hill 40, because Jason was gone to edit a video in the canned ham at the new property.
Right.
And
at the time, we didn't know where it was. We
right,
just knew that they had bought some other property and they were moving.
And they were downsizing some of the animals. And so we had every expectation of getting a goose.
We were buying a goose.
One goose. And Mayor Carl loved Farmer Rhett so much. He was not Farmer Rhett then, though.
No, he was just little bitty Rhett.
That she sent him home with 4 geese.
4 geese.
And some Muscovy ducks.
Yes.
And Brooke's interaction with Rhett, she said, put him on YouTube. You know, she just, y'all are doing what we do. You're doing it anyway. You're going to do it. If you don't video it, you're going to be doing it. So you might as well video it and share your life with everybody else. And people are just going to love Farmer Rhett. And
I thought she had lost her mind.
Yes.
So we're driving home, And at the time, we had a name for the farm. We had decided on a name already. And I told Zoe, you know what, the YouTube thing may be something fun to do. At least we can kind of watch our progress as we've come along. But I thought it was really cool that we had met these people that did that and introduced us to it. And our farm initials were the same.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool. So we decided, why not? We'll start videoing stuff and just doing our thing. And
it'll be fun to see where we were when we started, because we weren't very far into this.
No.
And so it would give us something on those discouraged days to look back and say, hey, look where we were, look where we're going, you know, everything's on track. And we just decided to invest a little money in a camera and put it out there. Our first video was a 3-minute slideshow of us processing chickens.
So that was the first farm job that we thought, hey, let's video this. And we got a friend to take pictures while we did it. And that's what we did with our video. We didn't even use the video. We used the pictures as a slideshow, no talking, and just put titles on it.
Yeah.
We put subtitles on it describing what we were doing.
Scared. Somebody is going to watch this video. Our first video is us processing chickens.
We're losing our light. Let's go home and finish this.
Okay, let's do that. All right, so we are home. Maybe our lighting is a little bit better.
Maybe so. The sun was going down on
But you got to see the sunset on the farm.
That's right. So if we're going to video and grow our farm, we needed to try to expand a little bit. And we were still doing the goat research, so we decided, hey, we'll try that again. Let's see how the goats work out.
So that is when we got Gypsy, Johnny, and Oliver. And they were a breath of fresh air with animals. They were very easy to deal with, just in the first initial hands-on part. And that's when we kind of knew that, okay, maybe we aren't doing everything wrong right now.
And naturally, we were still keeping up with our videos, and we were still researching goats and other animals, and it hit me like a ton of bricks when we watched a video that Daniel did. Again, we're back to Arms family, about how he had followed his faith and was just trying to live out God's plan, and that's how it was working out for him. And I thought, we are people of faith. We've got to pray our way through everything. So,
and it's hard.
We were really evaluating what we were doing with our farm based on, hey, were we being told to not have goats? It depends on how these work out on if we ever get any more. So we just kind of stayed with that for a little while. The chickens were working out. We had the goats, they were doing well. And we had ducks that had actually snuck their way in there. Zoe had come home with them, and geese, we just kind of, we had the geese, of course, from Cog Hill, and we just kind of, okay, let's just see how this works out for a while. But we were continuing to learn and research and watch videos, and we found another farm that lived by their faith and talked about prayer, and that was Sheridan Park Farms. And they brought the interest back in pigs. So the goats had worked out a second time. Why don't we try pigs a second time and see how that turns out?
But with doing that, we did a lot of research too, and we had everything set up correctly, that we took the time to make sure that we had it set up adequately for having pigs, and learned the way that they do it were the practices that we wanted to implement with our animals, and we really took the time to do that, to set it up and train them. And
since we were already thinking about pigs and had fencing set up to start working in that direction, we get a call from Brooke, and she has a friend that needs to rehome a pig. It's not the breed we wanted, but sure, we'll take him.
He's a gentle giant.
Yes.
And he was.
So we took him. And things were working out great with him. Hey, we found some babies. Let's make that trip. So here we go to go get baby pigs.
Yeah.
We get the baby pigs home. We made a decision that we were going to get some that we intended to breed. So we picked out the ones that we thought were shaped well and looked like what we wanted. We got a uncut male from a different litter so that we could start our breeders. And Porky started teaching them to get out.
So that is when we decided that it was probably best to find Porky another home. He was not following the practices that we wanted implemented on our farm. You know, the way we wanted to raise our pigs, he was breaking all the boundaries. And so it was time, and he
was breaking all the fence.
He was breaking all the fence. So it was time, and we did find him another home to go to, and it was a good introduction to pigs because he was so gentle, and we were able to handle him there for a little while.
He just needed to be somewhere that had more permanent fencing.
Yes.
Because we wanted to do rotational grazing and move their areas, and we trained our little ones. We decided, hey, now that Porky's gone, we're gonna have to start over. We put up a hard fence to train them to electric and got back on track.
So we'll fast forward a little bit. You know, our goats have expanded. We've had babies. The numbers have grown. What were our little pigs are now what you guys know as the big pigs, and we've grown with all the baby pigs now. So we, in the last year, have had little pigs grow to big pigs, and then mamas have babies.
And we've added more ducks and geese and turkeys, and we still have some of the turkeys.
We got a peacock, and we got the donkeys.
We forgot all about adding the peacock, Miss Brooke.
Yeah.
Guess where that egg came from.
Yeah. So Miss Ozella, we got 2 of Miss Ozella's eggs, and 1 hatched, and now we've got Miss Brooke. And we've just continued to grow, you know, and a lot of it has been not by plan.
Not by our plan.
Not by our plan. Animals needing homes, eggs needing to be hatched, community needing to be fed. So, you know, we've been talking about living by faith, and a lot of this was never our plan, and it's just kind of unfolding before our eyes. So we decided in the spring it was time to take a homesteading trip. We have not done any kind of community with homesteaders, really, have we?
Not up to that point.
No. Everything we had done, we were learning on our own, maybe talked to a few people in our area, which there's not a whole lot.
That's why we were so excited to find out that Cog Hill was in our area, because they were kind of doing the same types of things, and they weren't that far away. And
So we saw where Jason and Brooke were going to be speaking at the Okie Homestead and Expo. And we're like, well, if we're going to leave the farm, we're going to leave the farm and go to Oklahoma, I guess. But we,
And some of the channels that we had first started watching were the ones putting it on. Dutch and Hidden Heights were the ones doing the expo, and Daniel was going to be speaking, and Jason and Brooke were going to be speaking. And we're like, why not?
So we took the whole family and went to the Okie Homestead and Expo, and we had a blast.
So that morning we arrive at the expo, we get out of the car, and we don't know a soul there. We're getting out, we don't know where we're going. It's not even daylight yet.
And it was cold.
And this person comes running up, who we find out is live on Facebook, and we had just been watching the live because it had Okie Homestead Expo. We're like, okay, somebody's live from there. And that's when we met Cassie Walker from Walker Farm Fam, Zoe's buddy.
Let's see if these people want to talk. How are you guys doing? Oh, well then you are the perfect ones to ask if you want to be on Facebook.
We were just watching you.
You guys looked official, so I'm like, let's go check out these people. The cowboy hats brought me in.
That's Farmer Red. He keeps us.
How are you, buddy? Oh, you're like Ransom. You run when the camera comes out. So where are you guys from?
From Alabama. We have Chestnut Hills Farmstead.
Chestnut Hills Farmstead from Alabama.
Clanton, Alabama.
I think you guys have a YouTube channel.
We do.
I think I've watched some of your guys' stuff.
Cool.
So yesterday there were some people here, and I'm like, I don't know what your channel's called, but I have watched some of your stuff. I see your face. So, we try to go, when people comment or things, we try to click and watch and things. So sometimes we read comments, sometimes we don't. But I recognize your guys' faces. So
Thank you.
thank you guys for making the trip.
Yep.
So are you guys, well, you just got out of your car, or your truck. But everyone that's not from Oklahoma is freezing. Are you guys, what do you think about the weather?
It's a little chilly. I left my jacket on the bed at home.
It's not terrible.
Well, I will say I'm going to be over in the demonstration area over here. And when I was in there, I was like, it's really not bad. And then I came out here, now my hands are freezing. So between the expo building and the demo building, I think we'll all make it. And by noon, it says 65. So
Right, we're good.
yes, you guys have a great day.
It's like, I think we are twin souls. We're very much alike.
None of these people that we are meeting at this point, we have realized none of this is happening by accident.
That's right. Yeah. So we met a lot of people while we were there. We got to meet some of the YouTubers that we followed, and we were there to help support our friends. And when we left, we came back and we were just excited about the community that we were a part of now. And it just gave us a sense of pride almost.
Yeah, I think so.
Of what's coming, and just things to look forward to.
And to this point still, the video that we did from that is, as small as we are, that's still one of our better performing videos.
That's right.
And it was because there are other people wanting to learn the same things that we got to learn while we were there.
Mm-hmm. So once we got back from the Okie Homestead and Expo, we just kind of, we did our thing, working our farm, just doing what you do. And we saw where Daniel and Dutch were doing the
Video Creators Call.
I never say it right. And we kept talking. I kept telling Nick, you've got to go to this. You need to go to this. And he kept telling me, I'm not going without you. And I said, we cannot afford for both of us to go, but you need to go and learn.
It was very short notice.
Right.
When
Intentionally.
they put it out, and they wanted to make sure that you were serious about creating, and so it was short notice. There was a fee there. Zoe was saying, you need to go. You're the one that does the editing. You do better at networking with people. Well, Zoe, you're the face of the channel. You're the one that needs to be there. there's no way I was going without her going too. So here's the part where you get chills.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing a lot of praying about, is this something we need to do? If this is not the plan for us, there's no reason to make this investment. I was asking Brooke and Jason what they thought. Was it something that they felt would be worth it? And we had at the time an account that would grow very slowly, but it was our extra money to do things with that wasn't budgeted, any extras, things like that. And the money that had gone in the previous pay period had put us over the threshold for being able to book the conference. 2 spots in the conference. So now we had another issue, the cost of the lodging and travel.
We weren't broke. It wasn't that we were just not able, but we did not budget for it. And, dipping that much money out for the conference and for lodging and travel and all was going to take a good bit away from things that we had budgeted for.
Especially at this point when we've expanded the animals and feed bills were pretty astronomical at times.
And we had mommy pigs getting ready to farrow soon. Just everybody was getting fed heavily.
So I'm still praying, and I'm looking at the room prices, and they have a conference discount at this resort where the conference was being held. The discount had expired
The day before.
Yeah. So if you're ready for the part for chills, I'm checking our account, looking to see,
Trying to figure out how we're going to do it.
how bad is this going to affect our family if we do this? Is this something we need to do? If you're having to look this close, or is it something you should be even thinking about?
Right.
And I realized that during my bank system upgrade, which I knew about, payments that come out every other week, half the payment comes out every other week because I have it auto drafted. The full payment had come out twice. So I called the bank, and she says, yes sir, it sure did. We'll get it set up, and you won't owe that bill that following month, which would be August. So I text Zoe and tell her what has happened, and I said, do you think this is a sign to move ahead with this? And she said, I do. It's within, a little bit, a very small amount of what the room is going to cost. She said, I think you should do it. So I said, all right, I'm going to book it. And when I started to book the room, I didn't enter a discount code because it plainly said it had expired. When I started the checkout process, it automatically applied the discount code, and the discounted price matched the bill payment to the penny. So at this point, I'm texting Zoe back, and I'm a grown man in a power plant office, and I am squalling because you get very few of those neon sign moments from God, and if I was going to have one, that was it. It matched to the penny. He was telling me, yes, you're supposed to go.
That's right. This is not in your budget. This is extra, and here it is to the penny.
And it was provided for us. That gives me the faith to know we're supposed to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So the week before we left, I was at a work event, and a vendor was speaking that was from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And after he spoke, on my way out, I said, hey, I'm going to be in Broken Arrow in a couple of days. and told him what I was going for. And he said, when I told him where we were staying, he said, you need to eat at this restaurant, and gave me the name of the place. He said, by far, that's where you need to go. So we attend the conference, learn a ton. I had no idea I'd be taking that many notes. It was exactly what we needed, because it was not just a meet and greet. It was this is how you do it.
That's right.
This is how you grow your channel. This is how you give your audience what they want. This is how you know who's watching you and what they're looking for. We made connections with even more people. Zoe made a better connection with her buddy Cassie now. For someone that's trying to do YouTube and farming, it doesn't get any better than this. Zoe and I are sitting at breakfast. Jason from Cog Hill comes up and sits with us. And at a 4-person table, the only other chair that was open, Daniel Arms comes and sits down. That was huge for us. That was a really cool moment for me, because this is two guys that I admire, and I watch how they do things, and really want to emulate their part of having a YouTube channel. Maybe not farming so much, but it's something that we strive to be. Then when we're going through the conference, I got to have another conversation with Dutch, who I had spoke with briefly at the Homesteading Expo. Just really cool getting to know him better. And then we're at the table with Lester and Jamie, which I cannot even begin to describe how much stuff we learned from those two.
They are so
Lester and Jamie just know
they do
so much detailed stuff, and they work so hard and put out so much content. I don't know that I could strive to get to that level, but we learned so much from them. Even how we do our lives now came from Lester showing us how to use StreamYard. He went live right there from the conference and showed us how to do it.
right.
And that's why we're able to bring you those now. So we felt extremely blessed to have been at that event. We knew, hey, this is stuff we were supposed to learn.
Right.
God wants us to continue to do this, because we're going to share our faith as we go.
Right.
This is how we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to dinner at the restaurant that was recommended.
But what Nick didn't tell you is, before we went to the restaurant and had dinner, he told me the name of the restaurant, so I put it in my phone, and I'm like, Nick, this is 20 minutes away. He said, no, he told me it's just right across the street. I said, well, it's saying it is 20 minutes away. So we rode around for 45 minutes or so looking for somewhere else to eat. Everywhere we looked was full, was just not what we were wanting. We really wanted to try that restaurant because it was recommended to us. And so we're headed back to the room. We're like, I think we might even said, we'll just get some pizza or something. You know, we were over it at that point. And so I said, well, let me just pull it up one more time, see where it is from where we are right now. I had not been looking at the right thing. I was looking at how long the wait time was and not how far away it was. It was across the highway.
Where he said it was.
From where we were staying.
So we finally got to this restaurant that we had been recommended to go to. And when we're seated, the waitress comes up, takes the order, and she said, have y'all ever been here before? And Zoe says, no, we're from Alabama. Well, what are y'all doing in Oklahoma? And we tell her about the conference, and she tells us about, she had always wanted to start a YouTube channel for her singing. She was going to school in the Broken Arrow area at a college that was hosted by a church, and she was there studying worship.
So she didn't want to go into detail right then, you could tell, but she had mentioned that she had, had some trouble and had been through a rehab, and that's what led her into this college that she was going to and was pursuing what she loved to do, which was sing. And I said, well, you know, we all have a past, and I said, you'd be surprised at the kind of past we all have, and I just left it at that. And she went on, you know, she kind of looked at me, and she went on and put our order in.
So I told Zoe, I said, you're going to have to tell your story. She said, I'm not getting into that in the middle of a restaurant. And I said,
In Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma. I said, Zoe, with the way everything has played out, it may not have anything to do with this YouTube stuff. There may be another reason that we're in Oklahoma, and it is for you to tell that girl your story.
And that's what I did. She came back over. It wasn't a couple seconds later, she came back over and she said, will you tell me your story? Will you tell me what you meant by everybody?
What's your past?
What's your past? Nick said, I told you she was going to come back over here. And we told her, he said, I knew you were going to come back. And she did. And she stood
Well,
there.
naturally, she was going to have to come back. She was our waitress.
Well,
but she was going to come back and ask about the story, about the past.
Yeah. So I told her, you know, and I just tried to encourage her and speak life into her. And
we had our waitress crying.
Yeah.
Zoe crying.
And I wanted her to know, though, that, you know, that person that she used to be is not who she had to be now. And that's a big deal when you do have a past, is the past that you left that behind. That who you are at this moment is not that person anymore, and you grow from it and you learn from it, but you don't let that hold you back from being who you're supposed to be now.
And on that same note, I realized through Zoe's words that's how all this happened, was changing your past. You've heard Zoe's story, and Zoe has told her story to Tracy on Just Dig It. If you haven't seen it and you're curious, Tracy at Just Dig It Farms interviewed Zoe, and she tells her story. But I had a story, and I had a past, and I had to change the way I was living to have those prayers answered, where I met my wife. I had not been father material prior to that. I changed the way I was doing things, and I was blessed with Rhett. It didn't happen in my timing. I was 41 years old when my first biological child was born. My only biological child. But my plan was not to be 41 when that happened. But I was 41 before I was ready to do what needed to be done. And we realized that all of this played together. That we were supposed to be there to learn the things we did, to continue the path he had us on. And we had made up our minds to use this platform to share our faith, to never shy away from it. And he went one step further and said, you're going to share it before.
That's right.
And I firmly believe that.
Yeah. So here we are. We have you guys. We have
3,000 subscribers later.
Yeah. We have our farm. And we're just walking by faith and definitely not by sight, because we are blind rats right here. You know, we just...
You know, we're still a small channel, a small farm. We're growing both of those as it comes. Mm-hmm. But the other parts of that, the moving to the farm, we've told you guys what our goals are, but we haven't set a timeline for that. We know what we would like our timeline to be.
We've set timelines that we quickly learned were not timelines.
Yeah. So we know what we would like it to be, but that may not be when it happens. Our channel may not grow the way we want it to. Mm-hmm. But we're going to still keep delivering our message, doing what we do, the way we do it, and we have all you guys along 2 nights a week. We're live, and we have a group of friends that join us twice a week.
That's right. And you know what I love so much about it is we share more than just our farm. We share our life every day, you know, our sports, our church, every aspect of our life. You guys are with us while we're doing it. And that is what makes you part of our family, because you guys see just as much as anybody else we're around all the time sees.
They may see more than some of the people we know.
I hope you guys have enjoyed our little sit down we had with you. We didn't walk around and do animal tours or any heavy duty farm projects today, but we just felt like it was something we needed to share with you guys, who the farm is, where the Lord's led us from, where the Lord's leading us to, and just how it's playing out so far. And I'm sure we'll do an update as we get through some other trials and tests.
Yeah, it's his fault again. Daniel put me in tears again this week, talking about how he had been blessed, and knowing how that feels to have that door opened, and those moments where it's just no doubt you're on the right track. I have no question that we have more blessings coming, and I'm happy when I see other people being blessed, when I know that they're living in obedience.
That's right. That's right.
But guys, we appreciate you watching. We hope you'll like and subscribe. And if you don't already join us Wednesday nights and Sunday nights when we do our live, and you can ask us questions right on the spot.
That's right. All right, you guys, we love you, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.